Hi, I'm Irving. Welcome back to TV Fails, where we examine shows from my era that lasted one season or less. I'm kind of pushing the limits of my era with this one, but it was a patron request and I love this show. It only lasted 16 episodes. We'll discuss possible reasons as we go along. This pilot is 90 minutes long, so we'll look at it in two parts. Let's get started. That's a cryogenic chamber of some kind, and it's not working right.
The estate don't like us poking around in his old stuff, you know? I mean, usually I gotta get a permit from him just to open this floor up. They say a guy got lost in here back in 37. Just disappeared when they was loading some stuff in. Wouldn't want to find him, huh?
If he's still alive, he's probably hungry, so try not to look like a dinner buffet.
Only thing I want to know is what on this floor is pulling all that juice.
I'm gonna guess that thing we already saw. What's in it anyway? Sometimes it's better not to ask. This is a job for Dr. Billy Hayes and Dr. Elvin Lincoln, better known as L. Their department at the Humanidyne Corporation deals with human oddities, like a guy who's frozen solid but walks around yelling for Amelia and is so cold he freezes everything that he touches.
You guys monitor his vitals?
Couldn't get near him, he froze every instrument we had.
Contacts, temperature transfers.
Haven't seen that in a while. Okay, come on, let's get him inside. Come on. Okay, the scanner's working, right?
No problem, Billy. Mom just put somebody on
Okay,
it.
this is great. We have to walk the top. Wipe it straight to the side.
Notice that Billy says they haven't seen this in a while. That means they've seen it before. I suppose that's good. They may have some idea what to do with him.
His name's Arnold Beefneater.
Beefeater?
Beefneater, born in Kansas City in 1900, no living relatives.
Guy barely looks 40.
Cryogenics, Billy. That machine throws a poor boy like a pork chop.
Donna, speaking of which, you're going to let me know about dinner tonight, right?
The machine was built for Howard Hubert in 1935. The billionaire intended to use it for himself, but they were unable to get the apparatus to work.
Until Beefeater here tried it out, it's demons.
Thing is, he's now a Mr. Freeze. The machine altered his metabolism to the point where if his body gets above 32 degrees, he'll die. We heard Billy ask the lady about dinner. We'll find that he's had a date with her before and she's not interested. Now let's meet Miss Nancy, Billy's secretary.
Mrs. Schimmelkrantz from Kenosha, Wisconsin called. Her son Randy's been breathing fire and she's scared about losing the house.
Will someone hit the juice on this, please?
Mr. Miller, the invisible man, called again. He said he's been in to see you 6 times, but you treat him like he's not even here.
Nancy is the definition of unflappable. She lives in her own little world and none of this stuff affects her in the least. She does her job, she goes to lunch promptly on time, returns promptly on time, and leaves promptly on time. They'll stick Mr. Beefneater in the freezer for now because they have no other way to keep him cold.
Okay. Lock the door, watch the wires. Lock the door.
28 degrees, 27, CV stabilizing.
That's nice, but there's something I want to know. It's 1985. Ronald Reagan just started his second term as president. What's he doing there?
All right, Miss Nance, where was my mother calling from? Where'd she go? Lunch.
As I said, she goes to lunch promptly on time, no matter what's going on. We have a small MASH reunion going on here. Edward Winter was already a well-known character actor. Today he's Strickland, the big boss. He runs Humanidyne. Most of us know him as the world's worst military spy, Colonel Flagg from MASH. Larry Linville tended to be typecast as the Frank Burns sort of character. Contrary to the character, the entire cast of MASH loved him. He and Gary Berghoff were good friends, and everyone spoke kindly of him. Right now, he's sort of Frank Burns on steroids. That film they're watching is a demonstration of a new weapon. The general is salivating, and it's probably a good thing we can only see him from the waist up. Everyone said he had the hardest job on MASH because his character couldn't grow. The minute Frank Burns developed a little humanity, he wasn't Frank Burns anymore. Linville finally left the show for that reason. He felt he'd done everything he could with Frank, and it was time to move on. The last time I marathoned the show, I realized he was right. I hope these two had a good time getting together again. Reconnecting is fun.
Yes, it sends chills up my spine.
Unless it's for something like that. People are already in the streets all over the world protesting the idea of this weapon. Only a select few know it's already been built.
No, Mom, I happen to like my car. I really do. No, I do. Yes, dented fenders or no dented fenders. Well, I happen to think a 65 Dart has charm.
Not to mention, as long as you take care of it, that thing will run forever. They were built to last. In the mid-'80s, that's not the case anymore. He does well to hang on to his car because it's already a classic. And even with a few dents, keep it another 10 years and the collector will pay you a small fortune for it. But that's not good enough for Mom.
She was talking to the people in the beauty salon and wanted to know why her son wasn't a yuppie.
The yuppie phenomenon didn't last long, but it had lasting effects. It was an acronym for Young Urban Professional, although according to some sources, the U stands for Upwardly Mobile. These were kids, really, fresh out of college and diving into the business world with one goal: to get as rich as Midas by any means necessary. The so-called me generation grew out of it, and the yuppies were the progenitors and creators of that whole thing. If you watch the movie Beethoven, remember the couple who were going to invest in Mr. Newton's company until Beethoven took them for the ride of their lives? Yeah, those were yuppies. His mom thinks he should be like that. Mom has some weird priorities. Billy is played by Dean Paul Martin. He used his middle name to distinguish himself from his somewhat more famous dad, Rat Pack member Dean Martin. He was just getting going with his acting career, and he was a pilot for the California Air National Guard. Only about a year after this show folded, he was doing a routine flight in a jet fighter. He hit a snowstorm, something happened, and the plane crashed. He was 35.
No funding, broken equipment, and a salary that could make a paperboy cry.
Exactly.
Look, the problem here is results. Plain and simple. Strickland wants results.
But he doesn't just want results. He wants results that bring in lots of money.
When Mom Chris was running this place, things were different, okay? He's a man of science. He understands bunnies. But this guy, Strickland, he's all business, okay? He wants stuff that's commercial. Stuff that turns a profit. Stuff that has to do with
war, right?
It's been said many times, and it will continue to be true for as long as humanity endures. War is big business. Kevin Peter Hall, yes, both our primaries use all three names, grew like the proverbial weed and topped out at a little over 7'2". Unlike his character, he played basketball and was very good at it. Sadly, he contracted AIDS from a blood transfusion and died in 1991. He was also 35, which is a little spooky.
Please understand, Dr. Strickland, General Teal, you are asking Congress to approve of construction of the most destructive weapon in the world.
You betcha. If you can see what this baby can do.
I get the feeling the senator really doesn't like those guys. It's pretty obvious that General Thiel is insane, and Strickland is just there for the money.
The neutron beam will have enormous destructive potential, but it will also be the cleanest weapon in our arsenal, Senator. No radiation, no fallout.
Which makes it doubly dangerous. It's a weapon that could be tempting to use.
Tempting? The general is way past that, Senator. I'm not sure what there is to say about Kenneth Mars. From about 1968 to 2001, he was everywhere and had one of the most recognizable faces in Hollywood. Around 2001, he started doing voiceover work and never looked back. He did a few more live-action roles, but he finished his career doing voice work, primarily for the Land Before Time series. And he is not interested in funding this weapon, partly due to all the protests. Somewhere along the way, the leaders have to listen to the people. He's decided this is one of those times. Among other things, he says, if you build it, you had better have a safe place to keep it.
The NB bunker is located at a secret site about 3 hours from here. Now, the only way into the chamber in which the beam will be stored is through a defense corridor, which is virtually impassable.
And the Pentagon is ready to throw everything it's got against that defense system to prove it.
He strikes me as a little young to be a multiple-star general, but maybe he's a yuppie too.
Excuse me, I think that before we go any further, we should inform the senators of the dangers we've encountered in the computer simulations.
Dr. Momquist. Gentlemen, my distinguished predecessor is a scientist of great precaution. Now, the computers indicate that there are some bugs in the beam that still need to be worked out.
But that's the way it always is with these kind of breakthroughs.
Dr. Momquist used to run Humanidyne. How Strickland replaced him, we never find out.
Whoa. Big guns. Hey, Dr. S. Dr. Momquist.
Billy.
Dr. Hayes, I'm a little busy just now.
Right. You're a little busy right now. I'll just come back later and we can talk about it alone.
He has the general's attention. What exactly is it?
I mean, we don't want to let these guys in on it yet, right?
Let us in on what, Doctor?
Nothing. See, General, over at the Human Investigation Team, our lips are sealed. I mean, when the boss says a project is secret, that's...
Secret project?
Really nothing. It's just one of the little things that we're working on with a lot of commercial potential.
He says, we're talking war here, General, but the boss says keep it quiet, so I'm keeping it quiet.
Hayes, if you don't get out that door...
Let him talk, Strickland.
Forgive me, Dr. Momquist, but it's time to do a little groveling. General, imagine, if you will, an army of soldiers that can actually see in the dark.
Not with goggles, but with their own genetically altered eyes. Imagine soldiers who can grow 10 feet tall, divers who can breathe underwater. We're working on all of that. The general is breathing funny, but there's an emergency and Dr. Hayes has to leave.
Holy Scanner. Whoa! Oh, God. Holy. Where'd everybody go?
Billy finally figures out that he's calling for Amelia Earhart. She disappeared the same year that Beefneater was frozen. Now all he has to do is deliver Amelia.
A frozen candy bar, huh, Beef?
Or a Snickers, that's good too. Maybe it's not good.
Military applications are tremendous. Imagine freezing an enemy harbor. What the hey? The whole Black Sea. Huh?
Wait a minute here, General. Dr. S., you don't seem to understand something here, okay? I mean, this temperature transference thing, it really takes a lot out of the big guy, you know? I mean, you have him freeze a whole harbor or even a small lake or something, and you could drive his body temperature up enough to send him to that big icebox in the sky, you know?
As if the general cares about that. Strickland has seen enough.
Take him to the level 1 lab in the military bunker.
Hey, wait a minute, Dr. S. You're not serious, are you? I mean, he's our baby. You can't give him to the military division. Dr. Mom.
The and L are more experienced.
I'm not interested in their experience, Momquist. Subject of this program finally stands a chance to make a profit. You should feel good about it.
If you're so excited that their department turned up with something profitable, why are you taking it away from them? Billy says, imagine what we could do with more funding.
Funding? You don't think we're going to put more money into this program, do you?
I know. It probably sounds a little crazy, I know.
Yes, it does. And now that I've seen this operation down here, I think we should quit while we're ahead.
What are you trying to say here, boss?
Termination, Hayes. You, Wilt the Stilt, this entire flaky program are out the door.
We watch a sequence where we learn that El can't play basketball and really doesn't want to, but he does have a possible way to get their jobs back.
Look, you know that glandular serum I gave the little bunnies?
Yeah, that's shrinking stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, I gave a large dose of that to something else.
We saw his experiments with bunnies. He had one as big as a St. Bernard and one as small as a gerbil. But the something else he gave the shrinking serum to was himself. He hates being tall, especially since he can't play basketball. He says, I just wanted to get little.
Al? How little?
Little enough that he keeps some clothes for a Ken doll in his pocket. The effect lasts for 14 minutes and he can do it once an hour. I have the strangest feeling that's not what he was going for.
This is incredible, Al. Think what this could mean to medical science.
Think what this could mean to an army.
Ideal spies, saboteurs, you name it, an army with men who can do what he does would have a huge advantage over an enemy. The effects are good, very few visible matte lines, and the actors are getting their eye lines perfect. The shrinking effect is well done too. Some work went into this.
Well, what do you say? Do you think the committee bought it?
Does the Army buy $700 screwdrivers? They swallowed it hook, line, and sinker.
Dr. Momquist watches the demonstration, and if he was smart, he'd go find some security guards before he confronts them.
If those suits in Washington could see this.
They'd throw you in jail so fast it'd make your head spin.
How did you get it in your Momquist?
In building this weapon, you violated every AEC statute, every nuclear arms regulation.
On the face of the earth, Doctor.
Get out of there, Doctor.
I'm sorry, Dr. Strickland. He just slipped by.
Take him to the lab in the military division.
Oh, no, wait a minute. Wait a minute, this is dangerous! It's dangerous! It can finish the world!
I told him to get out of there. They'll keep him drugged and out of the way. Strickland thinks he'll be a good candidate to see how the Iceman affects humans.
You know what they do to you, don't you?
The same thing they're doing to Beef Neater.
Exactly. We're talking inhumane here. Why do you think we never showed him Mr. Electricity?
Johnny Bukowski.
Yeah, and that telekinetic girl, the one with the nice...
Probation officer, you couldn't keep your hands off of him.
All right, look, so the kid was a delinquent and she had a probation officer. That was cute. My point is that it's always been our policy to protect weird people from the warmongers, right?
Elle says, I know all that, but this is the only way we can get our jobs back. If I go to work for someone else, the government will buy them out. I'll end up in their hands no matter what we do, so we may as well benefit a little from it. But the worst part is, now weird people have nowhere to go. We were their only protection. Dr. Momquist manages to fight the drugs long enough to make an incoherent call to Billy. But it's enough to tell Billy something is very wrong and Dr. Mom is in the military lab. He and Elle have to do something because the computer situations Dr. Mom was talking about suggest this weapon could start an uncontrollable chain reaction and literally destroy the world. As we know, Strickland doesn't care. He just wants the money. What he thinks he can spend it on if there's no world is a question we won't get to ask him. And General Thiel doesn't care. He just likes loud noises. They have to rescue the doctor, but they're going to need help.
Will you relax? He said he'd see us, okay?
He said he'd see us.
Yeah. In a matter of speaking.
Are you listening to yourself? Do you realize what you're saying? Because he hated your guts when he left the lab.
I can only take so much, Chuck Berry.
Bite your tongue, boy. See, I told you you shouldn't have said that.
Well, he said that if he ever saw us again, that, he'd blow our heads off.
He goes by Johnny B or B-Man, and he does not want to see Billy. The last time they saw each other, Billy pointed a squirt gun at him. Not funny, because you could say Johnny is allergic to water. It has the potential to short him out and kill him. That's why he lives in a dry desert. He's another three-name guy, Mark Thomas Miller. This was his biggest acting job. Just a few years after Misfits, he was in an accident that disfigured his face and pretty well ended his acting career. He switched to building contracting and has done well for himself. He did a bit part here and there, but basically he focuses on his job and his family. I can respect that. Whatever they're selling, Johnny B isn't interested. He says, "This place is all I need. I'm happy." L says, "And alone."
I got fried by 20,000 volts at my last rock concert, or don't you remember? I attract electricity now. Lights dim when I walk into a room. My fingers spark. My eyes glow. I'm a freak, huh? Do either of you know how that feels?
Billy says, "Show him, L."
Well, no. This dude's a regular guy.
But he has an ability the rest of them don't, leadership. Any team needs a captain, and Billy is it.
So you think this girl can help us spring, Dr. Mom?
Her name's Gloria Dinallo. She's 17 years old and telekinetic as all get out. No one knows who her father is, but her mother says he's from outer space, but she's locked up in a mental ward in Camarillo.
She's also terrified and out of control.
She's as normal as we're allowing her to be.
And you call what she did in that shopping mall normal?
Some girls dumped a bottle of perfume on her head. They tease her.
And that's a normal response?
It sure as hell isn't criminal.
That's Jane, Gloria's probation officer. She really has a heart for the kid, but for most of the show she'll have nothing to do, and before the show ends she'll disappear. Seems like a waste of a lot of good character potential.
Look, Scanlon, all I know is that if you lock that kid up, everything I've done for her in the last 3 years is going to be wasted.
And I think that's the last thing any of us wants to see, huh?
Dr. Hayes.
Billy and Jane have a bit of a history too, and Jane doesn't like to think about it.
Hey, Glo. What's the skinny, babe?
What'd she throw it at him for? I know cuts like that are supposed to be clever, but I hate them. That was jarring, unsettling, and really, really unsatisfying. Poor editing choices like that can help contribute to a show's demise.
We're using temperature extremes on him to test his limits.
Just make sure you don't kill him. Looks like you're getting pretty close with Momquist.
These two are playing their parts so well, I can't wait to see them both in handcuffs.
What are you, crazy? Where is your mind?
Under this ice pack, screaming in pain. Haven't you taught that girl any manners?
Hayes, this is a violation of her probation. If Scanlon finds out, she's in jail and I'm out of a job.
She'd be jailed right this second if we hadn't come along.
All right. I can't fight you on that one.
She's just worried. Gloria is a scared 17-year-old baby, and what Billy wants is dangerous. I get the feeling if the state allowed such things, she'd adopt Gloria. Lord knows the kid could use a decent parent figure.
Jane, this is Billy talking now. Look, I know what we're asking is a lot here. But you've got to try to think of what an experience like this could do to help Gloria, too. Help her to use her powers constructively. To build her confidence, her self-esteem. To show her that being weird is special. That weird is okay.
Jane can't argue with that. She knows Billy's a hustler and he's doing a bit of hustle right now, but she also knows he does care intensely about these people that nobody else wants.
So, Gloria, when did Hayes and Lincoln do their research number on you?
While ago.
I think it just answered the question, but I wouldn't put money on it.
A year and a half ago.
Ah, she can talk. Terrific. Now, I'm going to talk back to you, and if we can keep this going, we'll have a real conversation, okay?
To properly star in this show, she probably should have gone by Courtney Bascox. She was 21 and just starting out. Hard to believe, huh? This was her first series role. It didn't go anywhere, but it got her noticed. Soon she had parts here, there, and everywhere, and within 8 years she was Monica on Friends, the show that made her immortal, the show I never watched. Listening to people talk about it non-stop was one of the ways I perfected the useful art of smile and nod.
Yeah, they worked on me 2 years ago last July.
I know.
You know? You want to tell me how?
I was at the concert when it happened. Jane took me there to see you.
To see me?
She's a major fan. She has all 3 of his albums and listens to them a lot.
Are you ever gonna make another one?
No. After the accident, I don't play much anymore.
Hey, watch it, buddy!
But it's worse than just knocking them into the sand.
You okay?
It's the water.
Water did that?
Yeah.
So, of course, you're walking barefoot on a beach. Think about that.
The launch was fine, but the one-point landing could have been much more graceful.
Okay, gang, ready? Let's run it down.
Check.
Temperature monitoring.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, frozen candy bars?
Check.
Not supposed to eat them, B-man.
I'm hungry.
They're using the ice cream truck so they can keep Beefneater cold. Billy talks his way past the guard at the gate and learns that the guards around the military complex have orders to shoot on sight. That could be a problem. What to do, what to do. Don't miss our next exciting episode. Next week, same bat time, same Misfit time, same Misfit channel. We watch a sequence where we learn that L can't... We watch a sequence... Slow down. We watch a sequence where we learn that L can't play basketball and really doesn't... We watch a sequence where we learn that... Come on. And within...